Alrighty guys, in this video we're going to be showing you how to remove a inboard boat engine. So let's get to it. First thing you're going to want to do, you can see here I have a 2-ton red engine hoist, and before you get this guy into position, first you need to remove the outdrive. If you have a larger hoist, you may not need to do this, although removing the outdrive also helps because of this drive shaft. You would have to slide the engine back into the front of the boat before getting it off of that. Next, you're going to want to make sure you have your battery disconnected. So go ahead and unplug that. One of the nice things about these engines is all the wires come through this single wire harness, with the exception of one positive battery cable down to the starter. So you go ahead and loosen up this worm gear, then you can just pull this one right out. So now those wires are disconnected. There might be a few zip ties down here you need to cut, and then you can always replace them whenever you're reinstalling. Got that. And there's also one bolt here that has all these ground wires together you need to get off. On these negative ground connections on this bolt on the motor, you can go ahead and take that off with a 14mm socket. Then once you got the wires off, you can go ahead and put that washer and nut back on so you don't forget this is where it went. Next, we've got the positive terminal from the battery to the starter. Go ahead and remove that with a 13mm socket. Go ahead and put that washer and nut back on so you don't forget where it went. And then you can pull this big positive cable to the side. Next, we've got the fuel line from the fuel tank to the fuel pump. You can remove it from either side. I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the fuel pump side. There's just a worm gear clamp here you loosen up. Then you'll be able to get the hose off. There you go. Then you just get that out of the way. Next, I'm going to be removing the throttle and transmission cables from here. And we can remove this whole assembly here with 3 bolts. One here, one there, and one right under there. And those are going to be a size 10 socket. So with the throttle cables here, there are 2 wires that are going to come out with it, and these 2 are both black, and they are connecting to a purple wire and a white wire. You don't have to mark these wires even though they're both black, because one has a male connector and the other has a female connector, so that way you'll know exactly which one hooks back up to the other. So then after that, you should be good to go ahead and remove this throttle piece. And then after you do that, I would recommend putting the nuts and bolts back in the holes on the engine, so that way you remember that's where they go. After you've got it off, just go ahead and move it to the side. Be careful not to bend the throttle and transmission cables too tightly though. After that, we're going to go ahead and unbolt the top of this exhaust here. And you can also remove it from one of these clamps down here on the hose. I'm going to go ahead and take it off at this top piece of the manifold though. Just a quick note, these bolts are actually not the exact same thread. You can see the one on the right, the threads stop a little higher before the ones on the left. This left one goes further back right here, and the right one goes up here. Then you're going to have to give this guy quite a tug to get him loose, and then after you do, you're probably going to have to replace the gasket for that seal right there where it goes, which I was planning on doing anyways. After that, we need to get this drive oil reservoir out of here. And it has two connectors, two wires going to it that you can remove. One is going to black and one is going to a sort of tannish color. So we will mark the black one with blue masking tape. After you've got it marked, you can go ahead and unplug the other one. And then this reservoir has a little strap that's holding it in. So you can just undo that, and then it will just slide right out. I'm going to go ahead and leave my strap there for now so I remember that's where it goes. And then you can sneak this reservoir up underneath the exhaust thing when you pull it to the side, and then have this out of the way. So I got that drive oil reservoir out of the way over there. Next, you're going to want to remove this hose you see going here that connects to your raw water pump. It comes all the way to the back. We'll remove it back here. There's just a worm gear that you have to unscrew. Then you're able to get it off. Then there is also two wires that are zip tied to it. Go ahead and cut the zip ties. And then the wires are just banana connectors, male and female, so you don't have to remember which one goes which, because there's only one way it can go. So then you've got those off. Then there is a negative terminal battery connection onto a bolt on the motor right here, and you can get that off with a 9/16 inch socket size. Next, we're going to remove this cable that goes to the choke on the carburetor here, and you can do that with a 7/16 socket on this side, and then a 3/8 inch size wrench on this part. Now we're going to go ahead and hook up our engine hoist chain down to the engine. We're going to connect it at the mounting points here, and then one down here in the back. So after you've got the chain hooked up, then you take out those two bolts here in the front and then two in the back here. Then you can go ahead and start hoisting the engine out. So one thing I do here is turn the engine sideways, so that way there's a little more clearance between it and the back of the boat, since I'm really at the limit of how deep my engine hoist can reach into the boat. So you don't necessarily have to do this, especially if you have a larger engine hoist, but this is just for me to help give a little more clearance for pulling it out. At this point that I realized my engine hoist wasn't going to be able to go high enough for the engine to clear the back part of that deck. So I'm gonna have to raise up the front of the boat in order to lower the back of the boat in order to compensate for that. We can only go so much lower before the trailer is going to be on top of our rails here, so we're only going to be able to budget maybe 2 or 3 inches. So that's what we'll try. This is perfectly safe. Oh God. dang near got the top of the boat up into the garage door. Well, we better hope this is enough to get it now. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm gonna do. At this point, I go ahead and put this towel down to help protect this lip of the whole of the fiberglass up there. Some parts of the engine tried to sort of snag on it and scrape it, so just putting that towel down helps protect it a little bit, keep the engine from clinking it quite as bad. Oh no. That is as high as our jack goes. Oh God, we're gonna have to get the back of the boat about 1 inch lower. Are we going to be able to get it? Oh my gosh. That might get it, guys. Holy cow. There's only one fatal flaw in this, that I cannot move backwards any more than I already am because there's a lip there. And we gotta get it back. And we can't move the boat forward as it is right now because it's up on this block. So I am stuck till I think of something. Okay guys, I might have just come up with the solution. I was able to pivot this, rotating it just barely around the edge of that piston. I think we're just barely gonna clear under here. I'm just gonna push it out to that corner, bring this way and over, and that should be able to get it done. And that is how you remove the engine from your boat. And I just want to say thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos about this boat, go look at my channel. I got plenty there. I'm doing a full restoration on it, cleaning out the inside. As you saw, it was destroyed. If you like a lot of those videos, please subscribe to the channel. I got more of them coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. Once again, Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.